Interview, Life, Death, and the Creative Desires of Loundraw and Summer Ghost. We'll be taking the most celebrated anime directors of our time that they have one thing in common: they are over 50 or nearing it. For we meet you with the primary demographic of 13 to 30-year-olds. They may as well be from a whole other world of influences and may even ways of life. However, with all things, the younger generations are now starting to enter the industry and mark the beginning of their own legacies. One such example is undoubtedly Loundraw, not only by the online handle under which they started out as an illustrator online. Loundraw may very well be the first Gen Z anime director. Loundraw's debut feature, Summer Ghost, is a poignant one. The story of three high schoolers who investigate rumors of a ghost who is believed to have died by suicide are each confronted with a more chilling fact: the spirit of Ayane Sato can only be seen by those who are already meddling with the idea of death. Far from the typical light-hearted teen romances they have floated anime films lately, Summer Ghost is a coming-of-age contemplation of life, but we can learn about it from someone who has experienced death. It also struck a debut from a new age of anime directors, which is why I jumped at the opportunity to talk with Londron about their debut film. Despite its running time, scarcely classified as a feature of the 40 minutes. Summer Ghost impressed enough for it to be included as part of the British Film Institute's anime season last month, with Londron being flown over from Japan to treat audiences to an in-person Q&A session the morning of that screening. However, I sat opposite London by a hotel room window that overlooked the hustle and bustle of King's Cross below. Going in, I didn't know what to expect from a director who was famously too young, but London wore his professionalism with a fitted up in suit. On the other side of the table, I wore a jacket bearing the signs from the Batman. It was comfortable, okay? London has come a long way, but physically and creatively. I always loved drawing. I told you before, stepping into the world of film, London starting out as an illustrator while still at school. I was posting a lot of art online and DeviantArt, and then an editor asked if I would be interested in illustrating a book cover. That was just the start of London, what will continue to be poached online for everything, including the cover of Yoro Somino's novel I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, image boards for two Detective Conan movies, and even the character designs for the 2017 TV anime Tsukakakire. This versatility was for good or bad. According to Yondron, who realized that Yondron being an illustrator meant that he could technically do a lot of things. There were specialists who could do better. Yondron came to a realization that he needed to pull his socks up. He did what his graduation piece. Yumiko says Salamiru Made is an anime film that may never exist, but Yondron created a conceptual trailer as his graduation piece back in 2017. The progression from still illustration to anime film came from a realization and the desire to ignite it. I realized that every picture had a story and I wanted to be able to tell a story. But Leandro posted the trailer online. It quickly spread around the world. First, I was really happy to see that reaction. He confessed, but secondly, I did wonder how to meet the expectation that I now feel. With the way of those expectations, there also came doubts about whatever he actually succeeded in adapting his illustrative art style into animation. I kind of lost insanity a bit. He reflected, I realized that I need to rethink that a bit, to figure out how to make my own style work in animation. However, in order to have the freedom to do that, Yondra had to take another big step. Well, many illustrators or animators will be in contact working as or for hire animator in famous working conditions notwithstanding or as an employee at their favorite studio. Yondron took a different path, a remarkably funded flat studio 3 years ago at the tender age of 24. When I asked why he chose the more difficult route, the answer wasn't ambitious yet simple one: to create what I wanted to create. After working on several for hire projects like adverts, he realized that the existing workflow just wasn't suitable, and rather than work for someone else and trying to do it within their format, it would be quicker to find people that I wanted to work with and to nurture them. When it comes to finding that talent, we heard more stories lately of animators from across the world being hired to work on anime playback platforms like Twitter. Given that social media led to his own discovery, I asked Yondron how important it is for an illustrator or animator to have a social media presence. I think it's essential. I would be here without social media, he answered with zero hesitation. However, he also warned that the nature of online artists can lead to things being more fleetingly popular, catching in the moment, rather than looking towards the long term. Yondron explained that this can lead to situations where an online artist may struggle to keep up in a professional environment. I found that with some of my animators in the studio that I need to teach them the technical side of things because their colors might have been great, but their perspective might have been off. For example, Yondra's desire to create what he wanted to also directly inspired the story of Summer Ghost, his and Flat Studio's first narrative work. Tomoya can follow the more creative path that he wants. Aoi is a victim of bullying, and Ryo has a terminal illness. Dad hangs off over Summer Ghost, and his three young protagonists held their reasons to think about it. Yondra admitted that they might have been made for a dark debut, but has previously because it was the first film that Leandro wanted to reveal the whole of himself. The study, the hard times they have been shown. My thoughts are around why I'm here. The reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. I didn't want to hide any of that. Summer Ghost is certainly a poignant reflection of life, especially with its story involving suicide. It's no small feat to handle those themes with the insensitivity that's set in only 40 minutes. However, Yondra balanced Summer Ghost's theme and characters' arcs between the and some 2-hour movies. But they put this on the Yondra, a reason that it was maybe because he stayed true to the old 80s show Don't Tell. In the script, initially there was a lot more action and feelings expressed, but I tried to cut all that down. So that what needed to be said could be expressed with a single shot. This means that even trying to find a version of Summer Ghost contains approximately 600 shots, another 200 were left at the cutting room floor. Of those that remain, Yondron pointed out one in particular of a painting stashed away in Tomoya's closet. I think that just seeing it tells you everything you need to know about the situation about these buildings. You might be wondering, given his sensitive object matter and the character's unique positions of being able to learn about life from the dead, if Yondron had any moral message with which the audience would take away from Summer Ghost. Yondron took a moment to consider my question before responding with the wisdom that defined his youthful appearance. It wasn't it because, as I explained, we don't think about death differently, so I think want to say that this is what you should do. If it wasn't anything that Yondron wanted the audiences to take away from Summer Ghost, or rather it would be courage, until we accept these differences, take that, and move forward. Summer Ghost may have only received a limited release in the UK thus far. First, as part of last year's We Love Anime Touring Festival and the BFS Anime Season last month. But I thought it would be the last we heard of Leandron. We Love as I tried to ease his nerves about the film's potential overseas reaction by expressing just how much I appreciate Summer Ghost, but I'm confident in his talent, professionalism, and creative passion will make Leandron a name to remember. Credit to Anime Newsnet to refer to Yomega Samiro made title translation.